This was me, a fat and unmotivated guy with no confidence whatsoever. Fast forward and this is me now. I'm way more confident. I have a body I feel proud of and I get more attention from girls. However, this took me a long time to get and way longer than it should have. So here is 10 fitness lessons I wish I knew sooner that is not only gonna get you faster results, but make it easier to get in the best shape of your life. Number 1. So imagine this, right? You start watching fitness content online and you see people with great looking bodies that you wish to have yourself. You get the motivation to start working out, but just after like 2 weeks or so, the motivation you felt just is completely gone. So you start thinking to yourself, right? Like, why is this happening to me? Why this is happening is because you don't have a strong reason why you want to change your body in the first place. You know, looking good for the sake of looking good is not a strong enough motivation to keep you going, especially the days when you don't feel like working out. So how do you actually figure this out? You figure it out by being honest with yourself. For me personally, why I wanted to change my body was because I wanted more confidence. I wanted to get more attention from girls. But most importantly, I wanted to be happy with the way that I looked in the mirror. And you know why these things were important to me is because I was lacking them when I was younger. So do this thinking for yourself and I promise you that you will find it so much easier to have the consistency that you actually want. Now, quick side note, if you want my personal help with losing fat and building a body that you actually feel proud of, just like I have right here, then click the link in the description. Number 2, I don't know about you, but when I first started working out, I watched like 20 different people online at the same time, you know, because I wanted to learn as much as possible.
You should do this exercise for this muscle and have this angle for maximum gains. And then you should do this and then you should do that.
Sure, I was watching these videos, you know, with good intention because I just wanted to learn as much as possible. But what ended up happening instead was that I watched too many things at the same time, you know, so much information going into my head that I didn't take action on a single thing that I watched. I was learning about bodyweight exercises when I was more interested in bodybuilding. I was learning about shoulder pain and how to recover your shoulders when I didn't even have shoulder pain in the first place. You know, at the time, it was just so much unnecessary information for like no reason whatsoever. So the lesson I want to teach you is to stick to one area of advice and take action on it before you learn anything else. You know, let's say you want to get better at bodybuilding and get more muscle, then only look into that and nothing else when it comes to fitness. By doing it this way, you learn so much faster and you get way faster results. But you also save yourself so much time and, you know, mental energy in general. Number 3, you know, have you suddenly felt the urge to completely change your body? You tell yourself, oh, I'm just going to go on a really strict diet and then I'm going to work out for 5 days a week and I will completely change myself. But in reality, you have like no prior experience with like exercise in general. This used to be me as well. And, you know, every time I had this thought for myself, I got like no results whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong, you wanting to change your body is a great step in the right direction, but you need to take a different approach. So let me ask you this question. If you wanted to teach someone how to swim, you know, doing the motions and everything that's necessary, would you just throw them into the water and let them figure it out for themselves? Of course not, right? You would gradually make it more difficult for them, right? You know, you would start off with giving them like some floatable pad that they can hold on to. And over time, they don't need the pad anymore and they can do it by themselves. Why I'm telling you this is because you need the same approach when it comes to fitness. You know, ease yourself into it instead of going from 0 to 100 immediately. And why this is important is because I speak from personal experience. You know, whenever you do too much at the start and it's something new for you, you end up just being overwhelmed and quitting after a few weeks. So instead, slowly over time, replace your bad habits with good habits, and this is the recipe to have good consistency in the long run. Number 4, I remember watching these massive bodybuilders, you know, online that lifted weights that I couldn't even imagine lifting myself. And I thought this was really cool, right? So when I first started working out, I wanted to do the exact same thing just like they did. However, the result of me doing this was that my body stayed the same for months and months and months. Because, you know, I wasn't even hitting the correct muscles that I wanted to train because I was lifting too heavy. You know, a bicep curl is supposed to hit your biceps, right? But if you lift too heavy, just like I did, it turned into a full body exercise instead. And that is not the purpose of doing that exercise. It was once I started to drop the weight and, you know, improving my form that everything completely changed. You know, my body went through like a night and day difference in the way that it looked. I started to feel the actual connection, you know, to the muscle that I wanted to train. And by doing it like this, I got so much faster results. But on top of that, the most important thing in reality is that I kept my body safe. You know, by lifting heavy weights with bad form, it's only a matter of time before you injure yourself. Number 5. Do you remember the times when going to the gym, right, has felt so annoying and like just a waste of time in general? I have felt those times as well. I thought to myself several times, you know, that I should take a rest day. And having a rest day is completely fine. But what ended up happening for me was that one rest day turned into 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. And before I even knew it, I had gone 1 whole week without even working out. And what I noticed, and probably you as well, is that the longer you take a break from something, the harder it is to get back into it. So it was once I changed my mindset that everything became so much clearer. In reality, right, fitness is actually a blessing, and we should be so damn grateful to even be able to do it in the first place, because there are so many people around the world, right, that don't even have the opportunity to do it. I'm not saying I'm perfect myself. I'm still working on my own gratitude, but you know, just having this mindset from time to time makes such a big difference. You know, there are people out there who literally dream of having the life that you have right now, that you think is pretty mediocre. You know, just being able to walk or just lifting a weight or even run in the first place. People actually dream of doing that. Meanwhile, you and me, we just take that stuff for granted. So the lesson I want to teach you is to change your mindset when it comes to fitness. You know, don't see fitness as a form of punishment, but much rather like a way to show self-respect and, you know, growth towards your future self. Number 6. So how many times have you heard this?
Oh, I don't have the time. I really want to do it, but I just can't fit it into my schedule.
I have done this several times myself, and probably you as well on many occasions, right? Now here's the reality, right? You don't ever get time to do something in your life. You create time for it if it matters to you enough. You know, when people say that they don't have the time, it's because they prioritize other things above it that is usually so much more comfortable to do. So make the extra effort of creating time for fitness in your day-to-day life. And you know, once it becomes a habit, it's so much easier to stay consistent. Something as basic as just 30 minutes a day makes a massive difference, and not only in the way that you feel, but the way that your body looks. Trust me when I say this. Number 7. You know, we all fall into this trap of scrolling social media, and then we see people with great looking physiques that we can only just dream of having ourselves. This was especially common for me when I just started working out. I remember feeling so proud of myself, you know, because I had started doing a healthy habit more consistently. But that pride that I used to feel, right, it just completely went away when I started to watch social media and I saw people who was so much younger than me had like a way better looking body. You know, it felt like the effort that I put in, you know, to finish my workout was for completely nothing. I didn't even have like 1% of the body that the people had on social media. And that's when I realized the harsh truth. I just couldn't waste my energy on this, because no matter what stage of my life I was going to be in, there was always going to be someone that was going to be ahead of me. Now, I know this is so much easier said than done, and it sounds kind of corny when you say it, but you have to just focus on yourself, you know, being better than you were yesterday. Now, if you are to compare yourself to people on social media, then use that as a motivation, you know, to actually improve yourself. If that is not the purpose you're doing it, then completely ignore it, because that is only going to do more damage to yourself than actually helping you. Number 8. Have you always wondered to yourself, like, you go to the gym for a couple of months, right? But you don't see any significant results to your body. This used to be me as well. It was once I implemented what's called progressive overload that everything started to improve. What this basically means is just that you do more than you did your last workout. For example, if you do bench press for 10 reps, the next workout you try and do 11 reps instead. Why this is important is because your body gets used to the same resistance over time, and the muscle growth slows down if you don't make it harder for yourself. The easiest way to track this is by writing it down in the notes on your phone. I'll put a picture on the screen so you see what it looks like. Number 9. I have fallen into this trap, and probably you as well, right? You know, where we see people talking about these new supplements that are supposed to help us with fat loss and building muscle at the same time, right? The problem with this is that supplements like this, right, they get released on a daily basis, and majority of them are usually just bad. They are only an attempt to get my and your money to make their own profits. You know, they give us these generic ass promises that we heard like 100 times before.
10 10x your muscle in 30 days, lose 100 pounds in the next 12 weeks.
You know, just generic ass nonsense like that. What you should do instead is just stick to the basics, like improving your nutrition, because at the end of the day, right, supplements is just that. They are supplements. They are not a magic pill, you know, that's gonna substitute for your bad eating habits or your bad workout routine. And if people tell you that they can do that, they are just trying to get your money and nothing else. Now, what I personally use just for convenience is the very basics. You know, I have some kind of protein powder and then I use creatine. That is pretty much it, because they are both proven to increase your performance and give you more muscle growth. Number 10. You know, like 90% of people who start working out right, they never achieve the goal that they had in mind. And this used to be me as well. I would get so frustrated because I didn't get significant results in just a matter of weeks. But here's the harsh reality. No matter how you twist it, this stuff takes time to actually build something that is worthwhile. So my advice to you is to change your approach when it comes to results. You know, see it as a lifestyle instead that you want to do for the rest of your life in one way or another. Don't procrastinate on doing the work that is necessary, because be honest with yourself here. Down the line, right, after some time, you want to fix this problem no matter what. Because if you watch a video like this, you want to actually change your body. Otherwise, you would just be wasting your time. So why not enjoy the results of your hard work that you put in faster by taking action now and actually working towards it? You know, instead of just saying, oh, eventually I will do it, but eventually will never come. You're just procrastinating. Now, if you want a simple approach to get in the best shape of your life, then click and watch this video next.